Mm-hmm.
So, in recent news, a woman said man who stopped to help her when her car broke down assaulted her and ruined his life. And it turns out it was all a lie. So according to 7 News, Mr. Basic was accused of indecently assaulting and stalking Caitlin Gray, a 19-year-old woman, after he stopped to help her when her car broke down late last year. Basic apparently spent 2 hours fixing Gray's vehicle, as shown by surveillance footage. The smiling pair seemed happy, hugging after the car is fixed and eventually parting ways. But according to the news station, Gray told police Basic had allegedly propositioned her for sex in return for his help before he pursued her in the car and later indecently assaulted her at a different location. Authorities investigating the incident called Basic's behavior predatory. So months later, the truth finally comes out. Turns out he never assaulted the woman thanks to CCTV footage. She confessed to the police during interrogation that she fabricated the evidence and made up the whole assault. We don't really know why, but now she's been charged with contempt of court, fabricating evidence, and lying to law enforcement, which is some pretty serious shit. And the thing is, the guy's life was ruined. I mean, when you get accused of this stuff by a young girl, people just believe it, right? And he had family issues. From what I heard, didn't his wife walk out on him or something like that? Or that he had like issues with his wife, issues with his family. I mean, everyone just believed what happened, at first. And if it wasn't for some CCTV footage, the guy would have been. I mean, the guy's life would have been completely ruined. Would anyone have believed him if there was some like CCTV footage that didn't exonerate him? Like, what would have happened to this guy? This is a symptom of sort of the Me Too generation, where we just believe the victim because it just is. Look, just because it's so plausible doesn't mean you need to accept it wholesale, But we're so willing to do so. If a 19-year-old came crying to you, accusing of some middle-aged dude of something, you can't help but think that even you would be susceptible to it. You're like, oh, she's so vulnerable. It's this crying, teary-eyed 19-year-old. Like, how many people's lives have been ruined that haven't been examined? That's what I'm thinking.
It's a good question. There's not enough information to kind of like understand the reasoning, and I'm sure this story will develop and we'll find out the reasoning, or maybe because she's kind of like a young, good-looking girl, they'll just kind of like pass over it and be like, oh yeah, not going to see it in the media again. Hopefully we do kind of find out the other moving piece to why she's actually come out and actually said this.
You know what though? I think it's attention-seeking behavior. Look, there's so much stock in being a victim in today's society. If you're from a victim group, or if you were a victim of something, it gives you so much legitimacy to have an opinion. It gives you some sort of more legitimacy, more expert opinion on a topic or an issue. I feel like people feel that there's more to who they are if they were a victim of something. They feel like there's more depth to who they are, their personality. There's more depth to their opinion on the world and its issues. If you're a victim of something like, oh, I was an immigrant and I am of color, therefore my experience on the issues of Western society are more relevant somehow. Like that sort of thing, right?
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying.
There's more stock in being a victim. It's that, or it could just be attention-seeking behavior.
I'd say it's more attention-seeking behavior than anything. 19-year-olds, I remember just being around some questionable women in the past at that time, and all of that weird behavior
in and around them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Sitting there with your fucking monocle going, you're so questionable. It's time to go in and around you. Oh my god, let's analyze the issues that you had in your past.
But yeah, it's a pretty scary story though. Like, there's a guy that's going out of his way to be a good Samaritan and spend 2 hours of his life helping someone who his car's broken down, and then turns around and says, "Oh, this guy raped me." Fucking hell, man. That's fucking
it's like,
scary,
the
dude.
guy spent
That's
2
scary.
hours fixing your car. Is that how you're going to repay him? By ruining his fucking life? What reason could there be? It's like, oh, dude, like, thanks for fixing my car. I should fucking ruin your whole life.
It's like a Seinfeld skit, isn't it? It's
I
not
know,
even
yeah.
real. It's not
I know,
real.
it seems unreal. You know, sometimes the more you read about the obscure news in the world, this is actually mainstream news. You know, you just go, why? What is life? You know, what is life actually? It's just, when the truth truly is stranger than fiction. You know, that when people say that, that's not an exaggeration. I feel like things happen in the world that would be well placed in either a tragedy or a sitcom, or actually sometimes the same story could be a tragedy or a sitcom. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, it's like a Seinfeld episode. It's like, why? What story could there be? Like, I think of a story like, oh, here's a plausible explanation, right? Like, her car's fixed, and maybe she was like having a temporary split with her boyfriend, and the boyfriend shows up and goes, "What happened with your car?" She's like, "Oh, like, you know, the tire got changed." Like, how the fuck did you change your tire? You don't know how to change a tire. She like doesn't want to admit. She doesn't want to admit she was interacting with another guy. She's like, "Oh, well, what happened was this guy helped me, and then he stalked me and fucking assaulted me." You know, like, I don't know.
Yeah.
My imagination's running wild, but you know what I mean. Like, it's just
Yeah,
like,
I've seen it happen a lot of times with like different people around that age. They've made up like really stupid stories and later recanted on it. So yeah, it's highly plausible, man.
some people would rather spin ridiculous lies than face the truth of their, you know, experience.
It's kind of like a well though as well. Like, you know, someone digging a hole. You know, they dig in a little bit and go, "Oh yeah," they make a little lie, and then a bigger lie and a bigger lie. Like, "Oh fuck, I need to keep lying in order for this to maintain. Otherwise, everything just fucking comes out like a house of cards."
It'll be fine. I'll just lie my way out of this.
Next thing you know, you're fucking arrested in jail.
Yeah. I'm gonna turn this house of cards into a castle of cards.
I'm glad she got arrested though. She fucking definitely needs to be fucked up. People like this need to be made examples of, man. You can't be doing this shit because people, especially now in the society we're living in, people in the Me Too generation, people are buying in and going, "Yeah, I do believe them. Yep, believe victims. And look at this guy. He could have went to jail for a long time, and it sounds like it almost fucked up his family life.
No, it
I
did,
loved how
almost did.
at the end of his article, the article was just basically saying like, essentially, I'm not going to help anyone ever again. I'm not going to be a good Samaritan because I don't want to get fucked up. But like, you know
Shit
what?
like this
Hats
is
off
the
to
end
you.
of us. Stuff like this stuff like this is the end of us as the end of us. Look, a society is more than just obeying laws. I mean,
Yeah.
especially free societies, they were designed in their beginning, in the inception of free societies, non-autocratic societies, designed for people who had moral values and a concern for their common, you know, for their neighbor, concern for the common man, concern for the common good, you know, an idea of the value of the life of others, right? And the more we do shit like this, the more we step away from the intention of what it is to live in a free society. I mean, young people these days are probably, I don't know, but it seems to me they're actually under the impression that they need to take care of themselves, obey some laws, and if there's a problem with society, we just need to change the laws to make society perfect. That's not true, all right? There needs to be going beyond, you know, they talk about climate change and taxes and education, the price of education. Everything is all within the lens of how the law should be changed. You realize that a society is successful well beyond the confines of the laws, right? I mean, was it John Smith? I can't remember. Was it John or Adam Smith? I can't remember. Or John Adams. I think it might be John Adams. One of the writers or founders, you know, one of the original people who signed and drafted the Constitution in America.
Former president, you're talking about?
I think he was a former president. Yeah. He said that a free society, this Constitution, the American one, a free society cannot exist unless its people are moral and Christian. Now, I'm not saying you have to be Christian, but the fact still stands. The intention is that the laws themselves don't capture everything, right? And I see us stepping away from it, you know, because with the Me Too generation, we've got all these people just believe all victims and everyone's kind of scared to help each other out. And look, you create a society where we're scared to help each other out, well, we're going to have a fucked up society, I tell you.
We're going to have a very separate like society where like guys don't want to interact with women, like even more so.
And you wonder why all these modern societies keep trending towards low birth. Like, wow, it's just not worth it, you know. A lot of the time, you know. We need to found a new party. Come in this party.